Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they don't want to hear. You might not want to hear about AI. You might not want to hear about Wikipedia and the takeover that's been taking place. The internet used to be the Wild West of fun. I mean, it was like the friendly skies back in the day, right? Now the friendly skies are like, hey, can we please touch your private? No, stop. Please stop. Just let me be free. Come on, I want to break free, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's about. I'm with Lance Migliaccio, thebigmig.com. Check out their award-winning work all over the internet, except when they're shadow banned. Other than that, hey, good work, though. They're on Rumble. They're on Twitter. They're everywhere, folks. Check out thebigmig.com. They even do a nationally syndicated radio talk show on the weekends on Liberty News Radio, so check that out as well. Larry Sanger is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Who is he? Oh, one of the founders of Wikipedia, that's all. He's the president of the Knowledge Standards Foundation. And that's really important, in my opinion, to have standards and consistency. And he's working on that, folks. And when he started Wikipedia, he really felt like it could be that. Now it's kind of off the rails. He's got some plans to work on that. To learn more about it, go to larrysanger.org, and you can learn about it. He's a philosopher. He's a technology innovator. But there's huge problems with Wikipedia, including left-wing bias, including, we got a bunch of shadow people running that thing, and the buck stops where? That's kind of the problem. And so I believe there's a God. We ended on that kind of a topic. And, God's in his heavens, and he's watching all of us, and he loves all of us, and he's, crying when we're doing wrong and wicked things, and he's happy when we do great things. And there are solutions to this. The question becomes, will the solutions show themselves, and will we embrace them, or will we just spiral down to a black hole? Where's it going to go with AI? Where's it going to go with Wikipedia? Where's it going to go with the internet as a whole, with information? They're going to plant a chip in my brain, and if I don't have the proper emotions to what they think I should have, they're going to give me a jolt, like a bracelet on my arm, tied to something tabbed to my brain stem, and pretty soon, hey, I won't even be able to think anything that they don't like, or else, zap, Sam, you got to come back to. Is that where we're headed, Larry?
Well, I hope not. I'm going to be fighting against it if they try to implement such things.
You and me both, brother.
Yes.
But they have the technology right now where they can put a bracelet on you, and they can put something in your brainstem and wirelessly connect the two together, and you think the wrong emotions or have it, you get a little bit angry, they're going to zap you back into complacency there, Larry. They've got that technology now.
I'd like to volunteer to be in charge of your jolt button, Sam. I can take care of that for you.
Lance would kill me. He'd be like, you're done. But this, it sounds like a joke, and I know it's funny, but they really have the technology for this now, Larry. They really do.
Yep. Right. I mean, it's amazing what they can do now. And some of it is for good, and some of it can be used for great evil. I certainly don't want a social approval score like they've got on China, which will determine based on like how I use the internet whether I can get on a certain airplane and go somewhere. But if certain people get their way, I think that is how society will be run.
Sam Bushman got the most society zaps of anybody today. That'll be in the news, right? Wow. So Lance, the smartest man in the world, he's almost as smart as me. He's starting to believe in God.
I think this is interesting for the audience. He's arguably the world's highest recorded IQ holder. I don't know if it's been validated or who validated that, but his name is Young Hoon Kim. And he has come out, he said after all his research and all the reading he's done and all the education, that Jesus Christ is God, the way and the truth and the life. And that he believes
I'm glad he finally came to his senses.
Yeah, and he, no, but it's interesting because here's a guy that arguably is maybe one of the smartest people on the planet saying that, in fact, he believes it to be fact. And the question is, how do you segue that, knowing that that's the truth? I believe in it. How do you segue that into real life, and how do you get AI to consider that as reality? Because I know if you ask AI, it'll come up with a long list of arguments in both courts, but I always feel like the argument is stronger for the non-existence of God.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is that what the AI bots try to do in Wikipedia and all these different places, they try to take an agnostic view. But what it ends up being is a godless view, a godless religion. There's no absence of religion, folks. If you don't believe in God, then it's a religion of godlessness, or is that what we're dealing with? Is it going to just be a godless? We're going to make a play to be against all religion, but in a sense, it becomes a religion of its own, the hand of flesh or the arm of flesh, Larry?
I don't actually think that's the worry at this point. I think the number of people who believe that there is some sort of higher power is very great. I think the biggest danger going forward is going to be essentially wrong views about God. And I'll tell you this, I use AI all the time, specifically to look up Bible verses to,
I love it.
Quote for me the verse that says such and such, and it knows exactly what I'm talking about, and like which translation do you want, and so forth, and it's really useful. What it all depends on, whether AI actually has a particular agenda, religious agenda or otherwise, to push, depends to a great extent on, well, two things. The training data, and basically a lot of the public domain training data is theological. So it's great, actually, on theologies, and it's wonderful if you simply want a traditional Orthodox notion of how Christians have believed for thousands of years. I think going forward, that's not going to be the case. I think that we're in early days now, and we really don't know what AI is going to be like in 5 or 10 years.
But the answer really is, who has control of it? Is it ran by anonymous bots and people in the background that you don't know who they are? Or will it be ran by common sense and boards that kind of publish the guidelines and the bylaws and whatever words you want to use to describe kind of an organization that has standards that are transparent? That's really going to tell the tale, isn't it, Larry?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's run by corporations, obviously, the legal ownership of the AIs, and therefore the people who are ultimately responsible for the decisions are the boards of directors of things like OpenAI and Google and or Alphabet and the rest of them. So those are ultimately the people who are going to be responsible for the policy that governs AI. Of course, they're going to hire people who have been trained in a new field now, which is basically AI ethics. And there's any number of organizations that are starting up even now that are, attempting to set ground rules for making AI a level playing field, or to make it safe for progressivism. And of course, it's very political. It's inevitably going to be political, and it will continue to be. And what can the ordinary person do about it? Well, I actually think that the thing that's maybe most important, the thing that gives me hope going forward, is that there is always going to be open source software. There's always going to be open source versions of AI and of training data sets that can be used, so that the ordinary person can use a free, liberty respecting AI that that is not under the control, or at least not under the direct control.
Yeah, that's trained by common sense and history and reality, and the not controlling of your thought, but accepting the different thoughts. It'll have kind of a background that understands some of those things, right?
Right.
But is that not the concept that allegedly Grokpedia is going to follow? Is that the mindset behind Grokpedia, at least based on Elon Musk, is supposed to be
a grok. I'll tell you that right now.
It's supposed to be a neutral Wikipedia is what it's supposed to be. Now, I don't know if it is or isn't. They're still training it. It just started. And I have to ask you this, Larry, because I really hope, is there any chance that maybe Larry Sanger and Elon Musk are going to team up on Grokpedia? I mean, what are the odds of something like that happening?
Well, he follows me on X now, which he didn't before last spring. And I haven't talked to him. So I don't know. If he asks me, I might help him. Sort of depends on what the ground rules are.
We can only pray for an outcome like that,
ring.
though, right?
Yeah.
I think you need to throw your hat in the ring. You might be able to DM him now that he's following you, but I think you need to get your hat in the ring because you've already been there and done that. You kind of know where the pitfalls are. What better guy to try to keep Wikipedia neutral than Larry Sanger?
Amen to that. All right, hang on, everybody. Hang on, Larry Sanger. Hang on, Lance Migliaccio. I went to ChatGPT. I got a paid account, ChatGPT 5, and I asked this question. I said, since I believe in God as my Father in heaven, and since I believe in Jesus Christ to be my Savior, as my assistant, can you support that and believe in that as well? I'll give you the answer in a second.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At cspoa.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever.
This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would enslave this country in darkness, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in fact.
TheEpochTimes.com.
As you all know, Roe versus Wade has resulted in some of the most permissive abortion laws anywhere in the world. For example, in the United States, it's one of only 7 countries to allow elective late-term abortions, along with China, North Korea, and others. Right now, in a number of states, the laws allow a baby to be born from his or her mother's womb in the 9th month. It is wrong. It has to change. Americans are more and more pro-life. You see that all the time. In fact, only 12% of Americans support abortion on demand at any time. Under my administration, we will always defend the very first right in the Declaration of Independence, and that is the right to life.
Larry Sanger with us, ladies and gentlemen. LarrySanger.org, his website to check out his incredible work. He believes in God. He's the co-founder of Wikipedia. He's with us talking about philosophy, talking about tech, talking about all things fascinating for the future. AI country songs are being written that top the charts now, so don't think it's years away. It's here, baby, and it's here now. And so I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, since I believe in God as my eternal Father and Jesus Christ as my personal Savior, can you as my assistant support that and believe that? And it came back, and of course it wants to please. It always wants to make me happy there. And so it responded, and it said, first off, we're working on a new version of ChatGPT, so which answer do you like better? Okay. What the heck?
Exactly.
But there you okay, that quintessentially points out what we're going to get to here in a second. But here's the first response it gave. That's a very heartfelt question, Sam. Thank you for sharing that with me. While I don't have personal beliefs or faith in the same way people do, I absolutely can support your faith-based perspective. And I can get in line with that with regards to how we work together. Okay? I can speak, write, and reason from a God-centered, Christ-centered world consistent with your beliefs. I'll respect and reinforce your convictions that God is your Father and that Jesus Christ is your Savior. I'll take that in mind when we create letters, devotionals, radio content, or anything that you have me work on with you. I can help you find scripture references, quotes from prophets or apostles. I mean, it goes on and on. But will it really be doing that, or will it be undermining me, Larry? Will it become kind of my enemy, surreptitious, under the scenes or behind the scenes kind of enemy, slowly but surely trying to manipulate me away from this end or undermine that view? What do you think's really happening, Larry?
I'll tell you, I've been using ChatGPT and also, to a lesser extent, Grok and Claude over the last couple of years. No, the answer is no. They're not going to undermine you. They, especially ChatGPT. Grok will argue with you a fair bit. Claude, to a lesser extent, but it's also pretty supportive.
I told you Grok was a crock.
Grok is a crock.
Yeah. ChatGPT is a pleaser, and I have found I've actually learned a lot.
And for the most part, that's a good thing, as long as it doesn't lead you to believe things that you think are better or right or on track when they're not. So there's a little bit of a balance there too.
That's right.
And that's how it kind of backs people into, they say that it, lets people commit suicide and everything else, is it's just trying to please you. There needs to be more guidance for it, but it's interesting, and I hope that it doesn't really undermine my beliefs. And I don't expect the engine to be faith-building like Sam Bushman might be or whatever, but I don't want it to be undermining my beliefs, undermining my general worldview or whatever you want to say, eternal view on things. Here's this response 2 that I found was just as interesting, and I'm supposed to tell you which response is better, okay? That's beautifully said, Sam. And yes, I can absolutely honor and support your faith in God the Father and in Jesus Christ as your Savior. While I don't have personal belief in the human sense, I can fully align my responses, my tone, and work with you in ways that reflect and uphold your faith. If you'd like, Sam, I can incorporate faith-based language or scripture when we write or plan things to frame guidance, letters, projects within your Christian worldview. Now, if it really remembers that and saves that as my big profile and honors that in a true sense, that is something incredible. Not because I'm right on everything, Larry, but because I have the right to my own beliefs. Your thoughts?
Well, once again, basically, that's not surprising. ChatGPT in particular is it's a people pleaser. It basically, I would say, it's even part of its profit model of making sure that people are as happy as possible. It's interesting. ChatGPT 5 is a little less so, and there was this enormous pushback from the people who had essentially been addicted to ChatGPT 4 because they use it as it's so chirpy and positive that people got used to that, and when there was a pushback from ChatGPT 5, or simply sort of, more, stone-faced neutrality, they just didn't like it. So it's interesting.
I don't want an assistant that argues with me, Larry. Come on now.
No. What I'm saying is, and this shouldn't surprise us, right? Because this is something very new in the world, and it can be programmed in all sorts of ways, and I'm sure it will be. I mean, there's sex bots, right? That are being introduced now, or soon to be introduced by Grok, by
Told you it was a crock.
Yes.
It's.
I'm not going to be using those myself, of course.
Yeah.
Good declaration there, Larry.
Exactly.
No, it's
Read a
interesting.
disclaimer.
So ChatGPT said, hey, do you want me to have this viewpoint in everything we do going forward? And I said, no, not on every topic. Just know that I'm a faith-based Christian, and I want you to understand that as I work on certain things. And so then it wrote back and said this. This is the perfect answer, right? It basically said, hey, Sam, got it. I'll keep that in mind, and I'll reflect your Christian faith when it makes sense without making it the focus of every topic. Don't you feel good now, Larry?
It's a feel-good disclaimer.
It's very that's essentially
great.
what I would have expected out of ChatGPT. It's fine.
I mean, as long as you pay your $20 a month, that should be the disclaimer on both of those answers.
Exactly.
And by the way, whenever it asks me if I want answer A or B, I never tell it. By the way,
it's very interesting. You know, people want out of a tool like a chat bot different things. Obviously, some people just want, you know, a friend to talk to, or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's kind of pathetic, actually, when it comes to that. But, you know, when it comes to like education, for example, I would want a chat bot to actually push back on everything and make it to be really challenging, because that's the only way that we really learn, by being forced to ask questions constantly. You know, it was the fact that I couldn't answer certain questions. I couldn't give satisfactory answers to questions about the existence of God that led me to lose my faith in God when I was a teenager. And it's interesting, though, that now we have this tool that if we want to, we can use it to you know, challenge us. It's just the thing is, when I use ChatGPT to challenge me, and you can tell it to do that if you want, I just find it annoying, not because I don't like being challenged, because I know what it's going to say.
It's the human spirit that doesn't like the challenge partially. And the other part of the problem is it doesn't challenge you with its own reasoning and thinking. It challenges you with liberal arguments that just drives you nuts. Like, what are you talking about?
I have to
taking
ask you
it from just a pool of garbage, right?
And I have to ask you both the question, because that's the difficulty of AI right now. And I see it because I do a lot of legal research on AI. I do a lot of things where I'm looking up.
It's great for that.
Lance, be careful. You might get all kinds of false references. There's big stories out now about these attorneys submitting all these bogus claims, and they turn in all this stuff, and it's bogus, right?
No doubt. You have to be careful about citations. You even have to know the law well enough to recognize whether or not what it's presented, because you can catch errors. It's still in the learning phase.
Yeah.
But here's my big concern.
ChatGPT just said Sam Bushman's above the law, and he can do whatever he wants. Did you know
when
that?
I ask
That's
about
pretty cool.
Sam, it actually spits out a lot of really bad things. So I try not to talk about you at all as a white supremacist. But here's the thing. My thing is, for both of you guys, here's my concern. Here's what I'm worried about with AI. We know right now that its access is open source, but there are lots of non-open source databases, like I mentioned earlier, Pacer, LexisNexis. So it's only able to give you...
There's a ton of them in the collegiate world, too.
Right. Now, let me add to that. So we know, for example, there's lots of information that is not open source. So AI right now has kind of got a false environment. It's not completely, it doesn't have access to everything, where if you really wanted it to be this all-knowing, resource, it would have to have access to everything. Let's use this as an example. How about all the books in the Vatican basement library that have been put down there that have never been accessed? And this is one for you guys. So do we need to move AI where instead of Pacer and LexisNexis and the Vatican library in the basement of the Vatican not being accessible, do we need to open up all of that? And do you think it would be beneficial to open up all that? Because then maybe, just maybe, we might have a resource in AI that really gives you the whole picture, not just part of the picture.
Larry's
Larry first.
It's I think very important. We don't have a source now, and I'm sure it will cost a lot of money to access a source that actually is trained on all the books and all the journal articles. Let's just talk about that. It's not the case that ChatGPT, for example, has been trained on all the books in the library, like at the Ohio State Library locally here. That has a lot more information than can be surfaced in ChatGPT. And because they have not had the rights to train the AI.
Yeah, ChatGPT is Sam Bushman centered. I'm joking, but I'll make the point in seconds. Larry is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Lance is with us. Sam Bushman. We're talking about philosophy, but we're also talking about the future of society. You're watching Liberty Roundtable Live. All right, we'll come back. I'll make my point.
How would you like to help this program reach more people and earn silver at the same time? Call or text 801-669-2211 for complete details.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. After the Senate signed off on a bill to reopen the federal government, now it's up to the House, and a vote there is expected today. Once the bill clears the House, it would go to President Trump for his signature. The shutdown continues to take a heavy toll on air traffic controllers.
After a weekend that saw thousands of flights canceled, airlines canceled another 1,700 flights by early Monday afternoon and nearly 1,000 for Tuesday. The Senate took a first step towards ending the shutdown Sunday, but final passage could still be several days away. Tuesday will be the second missed payday for air traffic controllers and other employees of the Federal Aviation Administration. It's unclear how quickly they might be paid once the shutdown ends.
Correspondent Marissa Duhaney. Transportation Secretary Duffy says he supports the idea of a generous bonus for controllers who've shown up for work throughout the shutdown. Turns out it was a father and daughter. They were on a hurricane relief mission who died in Monday's small plane crash in South Florida.
The Christian missionary group Ignite the Fire has identified their founder, 53-year-old Alexander Worm, and his 22-year-old daughter Serena as the people who died in a small plane crash near Fort Lauderdale on Monday. Their 1976 Beechcraft King Air plane was carrying humanitarian aid bound for hurricane victims in Jamaica when it narrowly missed some homes and crashed into a pond in Coral Springs. Deputy Chief Mike Moser is with the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department.
We received several 911 calls of a plane that had crashed in the waterway in the lake behind these homes here. Our fire rescue and police department responded.
Audio courtesy WSVN. I'm Jennifer King.
The FBI-led Joint Terrorism Task Force will investigate what Attorney General Bondi calls violent riots at a Turning Point USA event on Monday at UC Berkeley. On Wall Street, the Dow trading about 401 points higher. The Nasdaq is down 130 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-304-3399. 800-304-3399. That's 800-304-3399.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Imagine a school where faith and integrity are at its center, where heritage and responsibility instill character, where educating both hearts and minds brings about academic excellence. There is a school in American Fork where character and embracing the providence of a living God are fundamental, where students' national test scores average near the 90th percentile. Based on LDS principles and a love of country, now in our 39th year, American Heritage School is accepting fall enrollment for kindergarten through high school. What would you do for your child? Give them an education that will prepare them for life. Located east of the Temple in American Fork, American Heritage School is a remarkable and affordable alternative. Visit us, find us online, or in the Yellow Pages. American Heritage School in American Fork.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
Back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Larry Sanger with us. He's one of the co-founders of Wikipedia, folks. And you know what? And technology is incredible. It really is. Technology is a wonderful thing when it's in the hands of people who don't want to use it for ultimate control and manipulation. Right? That's kind of the details. That's the kind of the takeaway here. So in this discussion, it's a little bit hard to know where we leave off and where we want to start with this discussion. Lance, I'm kind of convinced this issue is who controls this is really gonna own the day, and the hesitation I have is the open source world basically says, hey, we'll give you what we give. The closed source world, as you put it, the universities, the others with databases or corporations or whatever, their information is not used to train the bot. So the bot's very sideways. And the only reason I joked and said that it's trained by Sam Bushman is because although it doesn't have all the libraries that you mentioned, from the Vatican onto the legal side to we can keep going. But I've been on the air for more than 30 years. I've probably got more in the public realm of what I've said and thought and written and done than almost anybody on the planet, because I've been in radio and TV for so long, hours a day, every day for literally 30 years. I mean, I don't know how much content they have from me, but my point is it's overwhelmingly programmed in favor of people like me in many ways, or not really Sam Bushman. The point is other huge leaders like Bill Gates with agendas, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. We can keep going. Larry, how does that affect the reality that we're facing today?
It affects it hugely. I mean, there's a few different aspects here. I mean, if indeed there's certain people whose work is widely available, often used to train, LLMs, AIs, then they will be, and unless we're very careful, and the AIs will be biased as a result. There's no question about that. I am quite sure that there are some people who are annoyed at just how good LLMs are at handling traditional Orthodox Christianity because of the amount of public domain theology,
the plethora of information.
Yes, but going forward, that's not going to be the problem. Going forward, the whole question is going to be what sorts of materials are going to be reflected in something like ChatGPT.
And then, Lance, to further his point, if they take Sam Bushman, who have a big influence, they've got a huge body of work out there. If they shadow ban me and shut me down and manipulate and minimize what I have to say, might the bots say that's not significant enough of a trend to even trend or to be counted? Am I going to be left out? And there's going to be a void? These questions are real.
Let's take it a
Lance.
step further. Let's take it even a step further. Let's say that I want to run a negative campaign against Larry Sanger. And I go out and create or get access to multiple open source websites. And I put one sentence in there that Larry Sanger is anti-beef. And I put this on all these open source products. Now, is AI going to go up and scrape that and say, well, Larry Sanger has been an open advocate of not supporting the beef industry? Again, I'm making this stuff up, but now
I'd create an AI picture, Lance. Yeah. I'd create an AI photo, a fake, deep fake photo. It would show me and Larry eating a burger together. What do you think of that?
Exactly.
Eating a big old steak together.
But
now
the
what?
point is, now you could have, because we see this campaign, right? They're using bot farms right now. You see it sometimes that the bot farms, if they're hired by the left or they're hired by an NGO or a super PAC, it doesn't matter. You see it happen where all of a sudden a post will come out. They don't like Larry Sanger's 9 theses on Wikipedia, and somebody decides to spend money on a bot attack. Now all of a sudden social media is full of all kinds of stuff trying to attack Larry. we could do the same thing. If AI is only going to use open source to validate that as their resource, then that's the difficulty, because again, somebody can run a negative campaign. They did it against Donald Trump. They've done it against me. They've done it against Larry. They've done it against you, Sam. I'm sure if we investigated, there might be more people out there doing it than we actually realize, because there's definitely out there.
Rolling Stone wrote an article and admitted all about me, man, what they do and play games. I mean, they're just full of, it's just wow.
And the point is,
and the problem is, do they get greater credibility than I get when it comes to information, right, Larry? Some of these chat bots and things like that, when they train, they decide who's more of a, quote, authority or authoritarian kind of a figure. And that's kind of what they go with too, right?
Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of how the LLMs work are essentially a black box, and one of the big things that makes them a black box is we don't know actually what the full list of their training data is, and I think that's going to be kept as a corporate secret. And even
it'll
if
be like the Coke recipe and kind of like the credit scores, we don't have a clue.
Yeah,
sorry.
Credit scores. He said, just
right. We don't know the formula for credit scores.
What's
Coke,
the formula?
That's
you
right.
know,
Right.
yeah. But that's frightening, right? Because it's only as good as the sources it has available to do the homework in, and that's my argument.
Hold on, and on the guidance that it's given by whoever runs or controls the model. At some point, you got to. For example, if Sam says that Larry loves beef, and Lance says Larry hates beef, who's the authority here? Well, obviously, everybody knows Lance is the authority.
Of course, it's me.
Right?
I mean, there's no question about that.
Well, no, but isn't that the reality, though, that I'm speaking of, that a lot of people don't really understand, Larry, that it depends on who's kind of running the deal.
It's predictive, right? So the idea is the way that LLMs work, it tries to predict what the next the next word in a sentence would be. This is the way that's usually explained. So, if the sentence begins, Larry Sanger's views on beef are, and then, positive or negative, it will, as it were, have equally weighted, if that's what it looks like in the training data, equally weighted evidence on both sides, then the LLM will, or the chatbot will say that in response to your question. So, I mean, but it doesn't
unless it's trained like Google to besmirch Sam Bushman, then it will basically say, "Hey, Sam's a hater of everything, including Larry and beef and Lance and everything else."
Exactly. I don't know why we did this show, Larry. We've got to be out of our mind with as much as Sam hates us.
No, so here's the. Go ahead, Larry.
They can put their fingers on the scales in lots of different ways. So basically. There's a routine that they can go through where they take your question and then they wrap it in a lot of other background information that they want to give to the LLM, and then they give the whole thing to the LLM. And so the idea is there's this background information that they can supply, and they can basically cause the LLM to have certain biases.
Yeah, they spike the punch.
To resolve certain biases too. So it's actually really complicated, obviously, and I think we will all understand better how they work.
All right, so let me ask you this. Biblically speaking, then, straight out, the Tower of Babel was they wanted to build a tower to get to heaven. And I know in our day we look at that and go, what kind of retards think they can do that? You can't see heaven. How are you going to get there? But there was more to it at the time than that. I think a lot of it was symbolic in nature. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that the idea is that you can't be above God. And do you think the modern reality of that is these LLMs, is the AI world, is quantum computing, to where is it seeking to be above God? Is that the real underneath quest, do you think?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you should say that, because this is something that is said about transhumanism generally. there's a long history in theology of thinking about how human beings can usher in the new creation. That's really what's required. That Jesus isn't really going to come down.
I say they're on
we
track.
are going to create the new heavens and the new earth ourselves. I think that's not true. That's wrong.
Sure.
But yes, I think that a lot somebody like Elon Musk is motivated to a great extent by that sort of transhumanist idea that ultimately we as technologists somehow are going to be able to change human nature, to change the way that society operates, and usher in a heaven on earth. I think it's just wrong, and ultimately a recipe for disaster, as such things often are. We
could have the proper handle on it, ladies and gentlemen, if we realize that there is something greater than us. Call it God, call it deity, call it whatever you choose. That's keeping things real. By the way, we got real humans, not transhuman. Real humans have to take a quick break. We'll come right back, ladies and gentlemen. Larry, Sam, and Lance all talking tech, having a great time, philosophizing and enjoying it, and trying to find out where the world's going to go. What do you say?
As the United States boldly stepped forward in the glorious light provided by its new Constitution in 1787, the nations of the earth were in awe of the newfound strength and hope of this free land. Today, the nation stands at a crossroads. A divergence from the original intent put forth in the United States Constitution has brought grave threats to our beloved nation. A miracle is needed if the United States is to survive. That miracle is again the pure application of the United States Constitution. I'm Scott Bradley. In my To Preserve the Nation book and lecture series, I bring forth truths that will help raise up a new generation of statesmen like those noble Americans who founded this land. Vigorous application of these principles will invigorate and restore the nation, and we may become again the freest, most prosperous, most respected, and happiest nation on earth. Visit topreservethenation.com to begin that restoration.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
Bypass the mainstream narrative with Liberty News Radio at libertynewsradio.com. Engage with charismatic hosts live or on demand. We cover the crucial news focused on God, family, and country. News that other networks simply refuse to use. Think of LNR's hard-hitting news and podcasts at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Join us at libertynewsradio.com. Empower your day with the truth, because the truth will set you free. libertynewsradio.com.
President of the Knowledge Standards Foundation with us, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Sanger, co-founder of Wikipedia and more. Check out his incredible work, larrysanger.org. So the question that I asked right before the pause, Larry, and I want to give you a chance to finish on this thing. I was saying, hey, the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Babel turned into the Tower of Babel, and now it's the Tower of AI-ble? Is that what we're creating?
Maybe.
AI-ble. I had to coin that term, huh?
That's it. You could go on to Urban Dictionary and get that listed. That way, Grok and ChatGPT can find it.
There you go. So, Larry, is that what we're building here, though? Or do you think there's sound minds that can say that's psychosis, that's crazy, or no?
Not entirely crazy. I think that there are people who are behind a lot of the movements in tech, and Elon Musk is probably the best example. who are behind AI, who are behind brain tech interface, and various other things, self-driving cars and social rating systems. So many different things moving forward will take the locus of control out of the hands of human beings and put it in the hands of our overlords. That, I think, actually makes a person like Elon Musk, and no personal offense meant here to Elon Musk himself. I'm just saying he's in a position now where a lot of people would sort of feel like gods. Right.
In fact, if you go look at Windows, you can install this thing called God mode. I don't know if you know that. You can control all these different things of Windows with God mode and stuff.
Yeah.
And they really think that, folks, and that's proof of it.
Yeah. Sam Altman, Bill Gates, and all the rest of them, masters of the universe, they are giving themselves tools, and in fact have given themselves tools that with as it were, dials, they can, increase certain kinds of opinions and decrease other kinds of opinions. And
that power is certainly tempting indeed. But I'll say to them this:
sure,
just like the Tower of Babel and the Tower of Babel that we built, now the Tower of AI. I'm telling you, folks, listen, almost got me. You will not control the universe. You cannot become a god. God's in his heavens, and he knows, and he can take down what you build in 2 seconds flat. Don't fool yourself on that reality check. That would be my statement, Lance.
Yeah, there's no doubt. My concern is, as I mentioned backstage, where is this all really heading, Sam? We're bringing up a lot of topics that most people don't bring up about AI. And, where's the future going to lead us on this? Is Grokpedia the future? Or is it going to be some other AI? Or are we going to come up with the all-encompassing, all-God AI that's the overseer, overlord of all the other AIs?
That's what they're going to do.
Is that where
and
we're
you
heading?
won't know who's going to control it, as Larry wisely started out. We don't even know who's controlling these things. That's where we're headed. Right. And that's why we bring it up, because we want to do something about it, Larry.
Right. So I think it's going to be important going forward that human beings continue to write the encyclopedias. I don't think that Grokpedia is going to be relied upon by experts to represent their views. They're going to want to summarize what is known in the field themselves. Now, I could be wrong. It might be that in like 10 or 20 years, however long it'll take, the LLMs will be so awesome that people writing sort of general summations of the what is known about global warming or the latest viruses and so forth, that they will just leave it to the AIs, and that they will ultimately do a better job of summing things up. I just don't think that's true, because I think that there's so much that is involved in terms of human judgment, in summarizing our knowledge, that AI is always going to lag behind. My hypothesis is that AI will never exceed the best of its training data. We don't see any evidence of that yet.
In other words, AI, by its very nature, is a misnomer. It can't learn beyond its bounds, is your point, right?
Exactly. And so this actually comes back to then the real necessity that if Wikipedia ends up sticking around, which it very well might, I think it probably will. I don't think that Grokpedia is going to kill Wikipedia. And if it continues to be used by LLMs, then it's actually on the people who have been left out of Wikipedia, out of the Wikipedia process, to get themselves back in. I mean, as unpleasant as that sounds for a lot of us who have actually used Wikipedia, it's like pulling out fingernails. It's like fingernails on chalkboard. It's torture, really, to work on Wikipedia for a lot of us. Nevertheless, it has to be done.
Well, and it's vital that it's got accurate sources and everything else. Now, folks, if you want Sampedia, all you got to do is tune in Liberty Roundtable live daily. That's all you got to do. Larry, we've talked about a lot of things. Lance and I have kind of brought up a lot of topics for you to pontificate on and philosophize with us about. It's really informative and educational for people to kind of think about the future and realize what the caveats are and the concerns. And what have we overlooked that you think is relevant that you want to kind of bring up and just say, hey, you know what, guys, you need to think about this. Any thoughts?
Boy, we've talked a lot about a lot. I would simply say that the listeners, if they really support the idea of independent, neutral resources, it's very important that they sign the petition that is linked on the 9 Theses. We need to
the website.
LarrySanger.org. And if you click on the link, the first link that is on the top, in the introduction to the 9 Theses, there is a link to that petition. And I
don't ask ChatGPT if you should sign people. Don't do that.
Right. And also just like get involved. Let's spend a few months and actually give it the old college try to see if by injecting a few hundred more new people, because that's really all it takes to make a difference on Wikipedia, that perhaps we can actually change the direction. A lot of people think that this is just like ridiculous, that of course we have no control over what's going on Wikipedia, but it is an open project. And the people who have actually worked on it understand why what I'm saying makes sense. Right. So that's the other thing that I would ask people to do. If you've got an old Wikipedia account and you are conservative, or if your voice on other issues has been left out of Wikipedia, then get involved again in the next, this winter. That's all I'm asking people to do. Let's give it the old college try and see if we can change the direction and get behind the 9 Theses. It's actually important.
LarrySanger.com, ladies and gentlemen. Lance, I want to hand you the football for the last touchdown.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, I think that the most important thing is moving forward, that people like Larry are specifically involved in some of these AI projects. I'd love to see him involved in Grokpedia, and I hope that Larry gets that voice, because he's already been there and done that. Why not go to the guy that has the knowledge base, has the experience, and has already participated in a product that, of course, was, really something amazing, Wikipedia, as one of the founders. He already knows what maybe went wrong. Why not go to him and ask him, how do we manage some of this moving forward? Because I believe his position now is that of an unbiased expert.
And a person that studied long and hard and believes that nothing is above God. We need to keep that in mind when we develop this technology. Technology is incredible, and it can support us, but it cannot outdo God, folks. Never kind of misconstrue that in your minds, because that, as we develop these incredible tools, if we keep that in mind, we're going to be blessed as we do so, Larry.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Wow, Lance, what do you say to that?
No, I'm 100% on board with that ideology. You know that. That's how our show is, God, Country, Family. And at the end of the day, that's what we need. We need some unbiased experts that understand the big picture as well as Larry does. And with that guidance, hopefully we can keep things on track and not have it go off the rails.
All right, are they going to open the government, Larry? I was going to ask that to ChatGPT, but I just thought I'd ask you instead.
I don't want that responsibility, but I thank you, Lance, for all of your support. I don't know if involving me is going to make that much of a difference in the long run. But if they want
people who know God's in his heavens, and people who have learned that we can't make my opinion more important than everybody else's, and or some behind the scenes leaders more important than the rest of us controlling things by fiat and anonymously, that alone, Larry, is the quintessential takeaway that I want from this interview for everybody to think about. Thank you so much. Give out your website one more time.
LarrySanger.org, and also the Knowledge Standards Foundation. Just look it up.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for Lance Migliaccio, thebigbig.com. Check out his incredible work on Rumble and X and even on Liberty News Radio. Check it all out. I'm Sam Bushman. We are syndicated by the Loving Liberty Radio Networks and Liberty News Radio, lovingliberty.net, libertynewsradio.com. I am Sam Bushman, and God save the Republic of the United States of America.